Hey everyone, today I'm going to be sharing with you a cheap way to do Voidgloom Seraph Tier 2. First off, I'll show you the items I use in the setup. To start off, we have our helmet where we use a crystallized heart because of its ability healing boost, which doubles all the healing we receive. I actually got really lucky with this one, and I got it on bin for only 900k coins, and it had Rejuvenate 5, which is normally 900k in itself. And then moving on to the chestplate, we have a Tier 4 perfect chestplate. I used it because it gives a lot of defense, which we really need for surviving this boss. This is the most expensive part of the build. It costs 4 million coins, which is kind of average for a perfect chestplate. And if you're struggling to survive when you're trying this later, you can always upgrade it to a higher tier of perfect chestplate. For the leggings and the boots, I used Wise Dragon armor because of the intel boost they give. You need a lot of mana to survive this because we're going to be healing a lot throughout the fight. So the massive intel boost is really useful for this. It costs about 1 million coins to buy both the boots and the leggings. And now moving on to what I believe is one of the most important parts of this build, the pet. I used a level 59 legendary ghoul holding a dwarf turtle shelmet. I actually already had this ghoul because I've been doing this strategy before, so it's around level 59, and if you can't get one at that level, just level it up. It shouldn't take too long to get to around 30 or 40. And I put a shelmet on it, which gave us knockback immunity, which is really useful for making sure that we can consistently hit the boss and stay near our power orb. The ghoul itself is useful for the increased healing it gives, and it also gives more intel. Together, these two items should cost you about 1.3 mil, but if you are pressed for money, you can use an epic ghoul, making it cost around 1.1 mil. Next, we're going to talk about the utility that I used for this fight, which actually first we're going to talk about the sword, where we have the Void Edge Katana with full hot potato books, because this build, to be honest, struggles a lot with dealing damage to the boss, because most of our armor and gear is meant solely for keeping us alive and not hurting the boss. When putting hot potato books on the katana, this should cost you about 1 million coins, because 10 hot potato books should be 500k, and the katana itself should be about 500k. And we use this because it's the weapon meant for Voidgloom, and especially for its Soul Cry ability, which allows us to really quickly get through the hit phase by having max ferocity during it and just hitting it as many times as possible during that and getting through it as quickly as possible so we can go back to standard healing. I use Soul Cry a lot more towards the end of the boss fights, so that way you can get the most out of the Execute enchant and make sure to conserve your mana at the beginning of the fight. And actually, if you've attempted Voidgloom before, I'm kind of assuming you have this sword, so... And if you don't, I already said it's 1 million coins. Next up, I guarantee that you have this by now, the Radiant Power Orb, which costs around 30k coins, and it'll keep you alive very well as long as you make sure it's up at all times. If you have Wolf 6, you can obviously go for the Mana Flux Power Orb, which is quite a bit more expensive, but also very useful. And this is a real game changer for keeping you alive, the Ornate Zombie Sword, which can heal up to 1200 HP at once if you're low. Make sure to use this very sparingly because it has 5 max charges and takes quite a while to recharge. The sword cost me about 1.1 million coins. It's very useful for not only Slayer, but dungeons and the fire trials, if you need another excuse to buy it. And finally, I used the Wand of Mending, which is a Revenant item. And make sure to be able to use this every 7 seconds so you constantly have the healing effect up. It's a great healing item for all kinds of things. And again, if you have Zombie Slayer 6, you can upgrade it to the Wand of Restoration, which will make it heal quite a bit more. And for our magic power, I used 9 Endstone Shulkers to get me the Adept magical power, which will further increase our tankiness and help us stay alive. And since it's very easy to get, I used full Ender equipment, which further increase our defense and HP. And I just want to say that I failed this a couple times when testing it. It takes a little bit of work to get into the rhythm of healing with this build. Once you get there, you'll be able to do this consistently. And now I'll share with you a clip of me successfully killing the Voidgloom tier 2 wearing the set I just explained to you.